Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to another exciting episode of T3PO Live. Or should I say, spooky episode. Yes, maybe that might be the appropriate term. It is the spooky season after all, and so that's why you have the Halloween-oriented festivities here, including, the border there. Did the lights match? No. No, they don't, because I had power problems yesterday, so all that time that was going to go into preparing this set for you, well, unfortunately, that was postponed right there. But I promise I'll go ahead. I have a lot more of this stuff as we get along with the spooky season. Well, let's go ahead and to help me with these amazing stories that we have on the docket and much more. Well, let's go ahead and get on an amazing panel, which already lost a member. Crap. Well, that's okay. That's all right. We have Lou Wasserman's Ghost and Nolan Thunder. Hello there.
I thought you were going to say welcome foolish mortals, but then I realized I was here and didn't quite qualify. So.
Well, I would have absolutely said that, but unfortunately I missed my opportunity. And as we all know,
there's no turning back now.
Yeah.
Shoot.
Man, that somebody kicks that Pillsbury Doughboy in his pumpkins, and suddenly his voice goes several registers lower, doesn't it?
That is absolutely fantastic right there.
But you know what? Seriously, what that opening reminded me of, back in the day at the Opera House, long before Lincoln and all the rest, they had the sets from Babes in Toyland. And they had those terrible, wonderful trees in there. And I remember as a kid going in there, and there was nobody in them. They weren't animated. But man, those things were spooky. And the trees in the beginning of your opening remind me very much like them. So.
Yes, the Babes in Toyland trees. It's so interesting, Lou, that you actually bring this up, because I was actually talking about those Babes in Toyland trees that could be seen at the Opera House with somebody else whose father, I guess he talked about it endlessly, that he was really freaked out about the trees.
They were spooky as heck, I got to tell you. Even, in a relatively brightly lit room with no animation and no voices and no, they were just there.
Right. Yeah, so if for people who don't know, if we go to Babes in Toyland, and if you look up like Opera House Disneyland, there was a display of like these set pieces and props and so forth from that live action film. Let me see if I can bring it up here. There's not a lot of information or anything.
I see a lot of stills from the real movie, but not so much from the display afterwards. But they'd give you the idea. Think of the Ents in The Lord of the Rings and give them a Disney twist, and you'll be close.
Exactly. But, there's somewhere in here. There's not a whole lot of photos from them, but a lot of people have a lot of fond memories. Well, maybe not so fond memories of going through the Opera House with those Babes in Toyland sets being available. I'll have to go ahead and look for it later on to give you guys an idea, but people still talk about them today. And that's why Lou is bringing it up right now. And look, we really did lose someone, didn't we?
We did. Rest in peace.
Where'd she go?
Yeah. We'd like to dedicate this stream in loving memory of MJ, who might be haunting our stream as we speak, which is really scary because we already have one ghost here. We don't need two. So.
Yeah, I agree. Well, you know what? Let's go ahead and we will incorporate her onto the panel as she comes back online. But,
avenge her!
We will avenge her. Don't even worry about that, Nolan. We have to get to this very spooky story because, it demands it. People will know, long viewers of That Park Place will know, about a story that we had covered back... Oh, here we go. Let me go. I can get MJ on right now. Give me a second. Oh, and of course she's still not able to be put on. That's this is just working out just fine. All right, we'll incorporate her. That's okay. Longtime viewers of That Park Place will remember this story. We talked about it early on when the construction walls started to go up around the rivers of America over there at Magic Kingdom at Walt Disney World. What am I talking about? I'm talking about the Haunted Mansion queue. You can see that right here. Industrial fans and Haunted Mansion queue help beat the heat. Oh, I didn't like this story at the time. I still don't like it now. Now, here's what's very interesting about this particular story is we have an update. And what is the update? They've added more fans. Why? Because I guess there have been so many complaints.
Because we like you, MOUSE. That's the only justifiable answer to why.
It's a fair point. Let me go ahead and bring MJ on because MJ, I know, is she has been known maybe to frequent the Magic Kingdom, understands the layout of this queue and how, well, bad it can be when surrounded by all walls. Give it up for MJ. Hello there.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
Sorry about
Indeed.
that. Technical issues over here, but all good now.
All good indeed. Let's go ahead and continue on with the story, and I'll go ahead and set you up properly, MJ. This by Walt Disney World News Today, Katie Francis, October 3rd, 2025. The Haunted Mansion queue at Magic Kingdom has been updated to address a reoccurring complaint from guests. Fans have now been installed in the outdoor portion of the Haunted Mansion queue. I guess hung up as opposed to just sitting industrial fans blowing on you. That's great. With the current construction situation at the former Rivers of America and surrounding areas, the normal airflow to the queue has been blocked by walls. The issue was partially addressed earlier this year with the addition of large industrial fans temporarily staged in the queue, and those fans are still in place, and new permanent fans have been added overhead in the covered portion. The walls causing the airflow issue are going to be around for years during the construction of the new Cars-themed area at Magic Kingdom. Rivers of America and its attractions, the Liberty Square Riverboat and Tom Sawyer's Island, closed permanently in July. Construction walls soon blocked off the area. You can see right here what these permanent fans look like. I don't know. Lou,
there is, a brand of fan for ceilings that people have in their homes and their barn dominiums and elsewhere. It's called BA fans. It does not stand for big attraction, but for something shorter. But you'd think they would invest in some of those because they actually do the job. But these were probably lying around the backside of the galaxy's edge, and long ago in an aerator far, far away.
Well, I can see the straps on there and so forth. I mean, if they're permanent, they're really something. Okay, so you have a little bit of design work, I suppose, but I don't know. They're not the highest. There's not the highest amount of theming or quality involved, at least that I can see. MJ, I want to go ahead and know from you. We've heard a lot of complaints ourselves, actually, from this queue portion of the Haunted Mansion and how it is unbearably hot. Have you experienced this new iteration of the queue with these walls here in place?
We were just there not too long ago. We didn't see if you want to pull up the photo of the big fan. I didn't see those, but the little ones seem like they're tucked in the awning. Are they tucked away in the awning somehow?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're tucked away in the awning there.
How much of a breeze are you gonna? Well, those walls covering up the Rivers of America, you're not getting any breeze. So I can see why, but yeah, it looks like I was looking at the other photo you put on because it looks like there was a little bit of welding, so they might be permanent. But I would suppose that the taller folks would probably get more of a breeze than the ones lower to the ground. I don't see how we're gonna get it. I mean, they could do a better job. They could probably put something, more that would give us more. Well, how much power can that thing possibly hold? It looks like the size of the one that they sell that squirts water. The ones that are like $45 in the park. It looks like the size of that one. No.
Yes, I mean, it looks very, very small. One of those neck fans that you would put on yourself, MJ? It looks kind of like that in terms of the size. It might as well be because they're very, very undersized, that is for sure. But this is just a massive, massive issue right here because, this area was really meant to be open, right? And this awning it's so interesting. In the earliest days of Haunted Mansion at Walt Disney World, back when the attraction opened with the park in October 1st, 1971, it didn't actually have an awning at all. I guess the expectation was that the cool breeze coming in there, cooled down by the Rivers of America, would actually keep you cool. Then it was like, there's this thing called a sun, and that doesn't really, you gotta protect people from that when you have people in line for a long period of time.
There is just one moon and one shining sun.
Yes, yeah. They should have taken
and the
notes
heat
from
is
the
hot
attraction
for
next door.
everyone.
But they ruined the entire ambiance of waiting in the queue for Haunted Mansion because you had a beautiful scenery that you used to be able to look at, and now it's just walls. I mean, literally awful. And people used to, not mind waiting in the line because you're looking at, Tom Sawyer's Island, the Rivers of America, Lady Liberty. You're looking at all of these, Liberty Bell, sorry, Lady Liberty, what am I talking about? The Liberty Bell. And, now you have this awful, and then what happens, guess what? Now you get people more anxious because the walls are there. You got these weird looking, and fans. I mean, you're anxious. Now you're like, okay, hurry up. When is the line going to get moving? And you're supposed to be relaxing and enjoying yourself. It's
MJ, the anxiety is a part of the immersion. They want you to be terrified of the Haunted Mansion. Don't you know? It's all an elaborate plan.
Unbelievable.
In a funny way, guys, this harkens back to a famous Walt statement. When the original Haunted Mansion at Disneyland was being conceived, the first sketch the Imagineers brought to Walt was of a house with the shutters falling off and cobwebs and roofs caved in, a real haunted house. And Walt said, "Nah, I don't want that ugly thing in Disneyland. We'll take care of the outside and let the ghosts take care of the inside." Well, now not so much, I guess. So,
right.
Not so much. I guess they would much rather have Big A take care of the outside. to paraphrase what you referenced before there, Lou. This is not show quality. To have these small, very lightly themed fans, I mean, they might not be zip tied.
Well, if we assume that the owner of the Haunted Mansion made his millions in the Industrial Revolution, I guess they're sort of vaguely themed, right?
Yeah, exactly. I don't think that's necessarily the case. I didn't see that story treatment there.
Oh, well,
going over the Haunted Mansion history.
Put a little plaque on it saying this is the fan that made him the millions.
Hey, there you go. Now we've incorporated a story into the attraction.
That would mean that story matters. Silly me.
Oh boy, that's a fantastic one right there, Nolan. I want to hear from you here when it comes to this whole thing. Do you think that this is a suitable arrangement for people to endure, I guess, for the next 3 years at least, or would you prefer to see another solution? Please, I want to hear your thoughts.
Well, it's hard for me to comment on this because I know this is just a direct response to Bob Iger's comments last year about it being too hot in Florida. Like, I know this is literally the difference between the consumer making their way to the product. So who am I to comment on something such as important as this? Because Floridians, they're timid in the weather, man. Like, they need those fans there. It'd be nice, okay, more realistically speaking here, from my point of view, I'm like, especially coming off of Halloween Horror Nights, I'm like, yeah, let's go fans. Let's go full on, blood spitting fans, that's actually like a colored water to maybe cool you down. But I think that would be a little too, graphic for Disney. But I don't know, maybe a little bit more classy type decor. But
you
I just
grim
don't think
spitting fans
long-term
to come out and spit in your eye.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
The obvious point is, when it's all finished, if it ever is, will the breeze from the rapidly speeding by sports cars be worth the fact that it kills the ambiance of the Haunted Mansion?
Ka-chow.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I was thinking the same thing. What are we going to
I wonder how long it'll be until, once the cars area is actually there in about 10, 15 years, give or take, once they actually have that area there, I wonder if they'll do anything like, maybe they'll have like the ghost light from Cars or Ghost Cars, and maybe they could maybe integrate the fans because the muffler system or something creative. I might be holding my breath on that.
Well,
but
they
I'd
might
like
want
to
to put a
think they
flux
have a
capacitor
plan.
on the back, but that idea is flown already to the other guys. So
That's a fair point. That's a fair point. I also think about like the extended queue area. Remember that used to be closer to the water line than the traditional queue for Haunted Mansion. So it's like, where are you going to put excess people, especially when lanes back up and everything like that? I just think about a lot of these things.
Wait, Vash.
Please.
You just answered your own question.
Okay.
With the price rises in the Walt Disney World, there won't be any excess people. They've solved
there
it.
you go.
They've solved it.
Problem solved. Hey, maybe those fans, they were actually going above and beyond what they had to go through, because
Those will soon be some of Walt Disney World's biggest fans. Let's just put it that way.
Well, I think about the construction or deconstruction of Rivers of America, and we'll have more coverage on that Park Place. I can guarantee you that. But unfortunately,
really
for the
hard.
Haunted Mansion, for these walls, and for these fans,
There's no turning back now.
indeed. But we have to turn to one of our amazing panelists right here, who has joined us. It is Erica from Erica and Rep. Hello there.
Wow, speaking of a haunted
Hi.
layout, I tell you. That's a haunted
He
layout.
has returned.
My avatar things.
Hello there, Erica. Thank you
So
so
what
much
are
for
we
joining us.
chatting about?
Well, we were chatting about Haunted Mansion fans, but I am getting the next story up right now in the background. It's so transparently you can't even see it. Now, unfortunately, now all you know. Okay, here we go. I think this is the perfect opportunity to bring this one up. Give me a second right here. All right. So, everybody has heard about, well, price increases from Walt Disney World. That's one. But two, everybody knows that the holiday season is coming up at the end of this year. Hey, and for us, as you can see in our digs here, it's already a holiday right now, that being October and the spooky season. But while Universal does have Halloween Horror Nights, they have been dipping their toes into Christmas decorations and so forth. Well, we now have a big update from Epic Universe on the holiday decorations this year that will be coming to Universal's newest theme park out there in Central Florida. Here you go from that Park Place. Epic Universe to feature holiday decor during 2025 Christmas season, October 10th, 2025, by Cham Lee. Thank you, Cham. Very much appreciate that. Universal Orlando Resort has announced that Epic Universe will be part of its destination-wide Christmas holiday celebration in 2025. The celebration runs from November 21st, 2025 through January 4th, 2026. According to an announcement, seasonal decorations will appear in Celestial Park and in the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, Ministry of Magic, within Epic Universe. This is big news for a variety of reasons, not the least of which being, though, that Universal is taking on Disney's most profitable season directly by incorporating more Christmas fare into their theme park resort out there in Central Florida. I want to know from you guys, would you be compelled to give, I don't know, Epic Universe and Universal a chance for the holiday season over Disney if given the option? I'll go ahead and leave it up to you.
Yes, and yes. Because, you see, dinero is hard to get in this economy. And Epic, I can save a little bit of that, but still have a great vacation experience. Where is the sign-up form, Vash? I want to go to holiday. Book us 2 tickets. We can get some hot chocolate. It's going to be a vibe. Let's do it. I'm sold, man.
It's definitely going to be a vibe. Erica, you are like the best at decorating your backdrop, and I know you put in a lot of preparation for the Halloween season specifically. But would you be inclined to go to Epic Universe and see the amazing holiday decor like at Celestial Park or at the Wizarding World of Harry Potter 3.0?
Absolutely. I mean, I haven't been to Universal since they opened up the first Harry Potter land. So everything's all bright and new and shiny for me, even the old stuff. So yeah, and my money goes further. Absolutely. And it's a theme park and it's Universal. They're just as good at decorating as Disney.
And we've heard nothing about something new from Disney, right? It's just, hey, we're going to put up the same old
Exactly.
stuff.
Well, we've heard actually a little bit less. For example, like the gingerbread house at the Grand Floridian lobby.
Right,
They're not
right.
doing that this
Yeah,
year.
I have to
Building a
salty
bar
about
for
that.
3 years. You have to take your gingerbread with a shot of bourbon to get their attention. $25
Yeah.
shot of well bourbon, I might add. But
26
here's the
with
other
candy
thing to
cane in there.
consider. Put aside the Harry Potter land for a minute, which will look gorgeous, especially if they kind of go with a French Christmas vibe. Just imagine how much bigger an area it is to decorate with Celestial Park than, for example, Main Street and the Castle. It's got to be 2 or 3 times as much area, right? And at least, and it's got to be based on the decorations that are already there normally, pretty spectacular. It's, I mean, look, there's a Christmas tree right there. But
Yeah, that's a good thing right there. I want to
all
go
I
ahead
can
and
say is it's beginning to look a lot like Hanukkah everywhere I go.
That's hilarious. I want to go ahead and incorporate MJ here in this conversation because I think it's super, super interesting to get her perspective from, her family there. MJ, we're just talking about the incorporation for the first time of the holiday season, Christmas that is, to Epic Universe in the form of Celestial Park and the Wizarding World of Harry Potter 3.0. Now, I was just asking everybody, kind of going around, would you be compelled to maybe give Universal a chance when it came to your holiday dollars over Disney if given the option?
Happy Christmas, Harry. I would absolutely love to spend the holidays at Epic. I just saw all the merchandise they have for the holidays. The store in Celestial Park, they have all the right merch for the holidays, and it's themed to each land. The one that really drew my attention was the one for the Harry Potter Ministry of Magic land. It was the merchandise just makes me want to go be there during the holidays. It's absolutely breathtaking. And from my understanding, what I've heard is that the decorations are going to be bar none. So hopefully they live up to their word and we'll see what happens. But yeah, I would love to do it. Love to go there.
Joyeux Noël.
Huh?
No.
Joyeux Noël. Merry Christmas
Oh,
in
yeah.
France. It should be spectacular.
Yes.
No, I kind of want to ask you, though, the one thing that we saw omitted from, I guess, this press release from Universal talking about the holidays and its incorporation to Epic Universe is the omission of Super Nintendo World. Apparently they do this. I think they announced this for Hollywood, but I know they do this in Japan. My question to you is would you still find yourself being excited for this year's holiday decor if it omitted Super Nintendo World, or are you waiting for an announcement by Universal to incorporate Super Nintendo World in this whole festivity thing?
I honestly don't think we're going to get any sort of announcement for Super Nintendo World anytime soon, because from everything I've been seeing, I can't say, I have the Universal connections or the papers or anything like that, but from everything I've seen, Nintendo has been routinely one of the harder companies to work with. Not in the sense that they're toxic, but in the sense that they're very protective of their IPs, what goes, what doesn't go. And I could see it to be maybe a bit more troublesome trying to get a Christmas integration into the brand than it would be, say, Harry Potter, which already features that kind of stuff. Nintendo, while there has been some Christmas media in the past, it's not predominantly as Christmassy as, say, Harry Potter. There's a lot of hoops to jump through when it comes to Nintendo and the bigwigs over there. So I do think this could happen at some point. I'm sure they'll find a quirky way to capitalize it eventually. But I think right now it's a matter of they're probably already working with them on, other future Nintendo projects that could be coming to their theme parks, from all those rumors and such.
That's
that maybe on the agenda with, all the bigwigs and the soups, their lawyers, all that. I don't think that's a priority for them right now when they can instead just capitalize off of Harry Potter or possibly Isle of Berk, and get this thing rolling, because there's definitely a lot of moving pieces we don't know of behind the scenes, and I think it's going to make a difference.
I have to mention, I love Japanese people. I love their culture. I love that it's different than ours, but sometimes things get a little confused in the translation. Back in the late 70s, Japan sort of suddenly discovered the merchandising possibilities of Christmas. And The Economist magazine published a photo. I wish I still had it. It was one of the funniest things I'd ever seen. Where one of the major department stores in downtown Tokyo, with one of these 4, 5, 6-story atriums in the middle, they were trying to do Christmas, and they got the iconography a little bit wrong. What they had was about a 20-foot tall Santa crucified on a cross hanging from the ceiling. So, be careful what you wish for, is all I'm trying to say.
That's a fair point.
Yeah,
right there.
It was hilarious. It was just hilarious. But, they were sincere. They were just misguided. So if they stick a wreath on a Yoshi and call it a day, that'll be fine for me.
Theme Park Wizard actually comes in here with some additional commentary. Super Nintendo World seems to get holiday decorations in the second year. Must be a contract thing. It happened with Hollywood too. I have heard that they've been kind of slow on the uptick when it comes to modifications to Super Nintendo World, or even the incorporation of additional IP into these parks. Something going on there for sure. But hey, you know what? You could still, I don't know, knock out blocks to your heart's content, even without those holiday decorations. Actually,
who would ever want to do that?
Yeah, who would ever want
sort
to
of
do that,
recognize that
Mr.
guy.
Colin Thunder?
That looks like so much fun right
Something
now.
about the dance moves. Oh, yeah, there he is. There he is.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, now I recognize that particular face right there. Well, I am very excited about the prospect of, like, okay, Celestial Park, it has a very unique theme that's very distinct to Epic Universe right there. What does a holiday celebration actually look like? That's interesting. And then to incorporate on those huge facades in the Wizarding World, Ministry of Magic portion of this theme park, like almost French inspired, maybe vintage decorations and so forth. I think that's going to be super, super cool, and it's going to give that portion of the park, Wizarding World portion of that park, a brand new look.
I think it's going to feel like some of those great European Christmas markets that go on in all the cities of Germany, Austria, France. I don't know if you've ever seen some of these walkthroughs of those, but gosh, they're spectacular. Just spectacular. And especially if they do kind of French novelty items, maybe, I don't know, gingerbread in the shape of, I don't know, Joan of Arc. But there's a lot of possibilities possible there. So, and not to mention decorating those store windows that already have animation. And what would you do with butterbeer for Christmas?
Could we get projections? Could we get snow?
Maybe hot butterbeer. It's like, I don't know if you know this, but Dr. Pepper is great hot, believe it or not, with a cinnamon stick. I know that sounds strange, but it really, really is delicious with a cinnamon stick and a slice of lemon. So give that a try this holiday season.
Well, and more recipes and tips from Mr. Lou Wasman's Ghost, who knows a thing or two about the foods right here.
I know what tastes good. Let's just not do Christmas escargot. That would be a little too far, I think.
Let's not do that. But French Christmas, yes. Oh yeah, sign me up. Super, super cool. And we had some panelists go in and out. Very much.
Everybody's having power supply issues.
Are we?
I'm
okay.
So sorry.
No, you're fine. Don't even worry about it. I just want to make sure that you were okay and that, something else wasn't going on, because, man,
the void didn't get you, did it?
This. Good.
Anyway, we will make do with what we can make do with, right?
This storm that I went through has just been crazy. All right, let's go ahead and see.
Worse than a haboob?
Worse than a haboob. Yeah, they call it a microsurge, actually.
Oh, microsurge.
Microsurge. And yes, it was very micro.
That sounds like it would be friendly to electronics and not against them, but I don't know.
Maybe
Bill Gates will copyright it and then it'll be fine.
That's fantastic. That's great. Let's see right here. I just want to make sure that we're all good on this end. I believe we are. What did I do here? What is this? Is this the one? Yes, this is the one. Okay. I just want to make sure. All right, here we go. So I don't know if you guys have heard, but there apparently has been in production for a while a documentary all on the creation of Epic Universe. And a lot of theme park fans were excited to see this. And when they heard about it, it was like, oh, this is going to be great. This is going to be like the Imagineering story Universal style. And that's definitely what they have hyped it up to be, that being Universal. But for some reason, it's been delayed. Not once, but twice, which is very strange. Supposed to be coming out in November. We'll see. But I wanted to go ahead and bring this article forward because it speculates as to why this may have happened. And, well, if in fact we're going to be getting it for real this time in November of this year. Here we go from Fantasyland News. Epic Universe annual pass reveal scrapped. Why did Universal delay its Epic Universe documentary? Very interesting. Epic Universe annual pass. Oh, I guess that's the repeat of the title. Why do you do that? Come on, you got to put that in like another print or something. Okay. Anyway, Epic Ride, the story of Universal theme parks, has now been rescheduled 3 different times. The first delay was in July of 2025 and was moved to September 29th, 2025, and now it has been delayed again until November 17th, 2025, according to Attractions Magazine. Epic Ride, the story of Universal theme parks, will now premiere on that date, November 17, 2025. This 3-part docuseries celebrates the history and legacy of Universal destinations and experiences through unprecedented access, rare archival, and intimate interviews with directors, producers, executives, and A-list celebrities. Sounds fantastic, but why? Why has this been delayed so many times? And Universal, as this article notes, provides no official reason, but there are 2 compelling theories that it presents.
This is the one that immediately came to my mind when I heard it.
Right. The tragic incident in Stardust Racers. We won't be getting into the details surrounding that case, just in respect to the family and the tragedy involved right there. But I had heard that the reason why this second reschedule came about was specifically because of this incident. Because as one could probably surmise, there will be a lot to do regarding Stardust Racers in this documentary. Have you guys heard anything on this? That's what I'm hearing, and I've heard that's
I haven't heard a thing, but it certainly came to mind immediately that they just wanted to make sure all the ducks were in a row.
Yes.
Well, yeah.
Because
on Stardust Racers, in light of the recent incident, or just like a documentary on like Mack Rides building this thing?
Because
we don't know what the content was, so we have to say that if they're re-editing it to reflect something that was problematic before, I don't know.
It could also be a timing issue too. So when I was there on opening day, I remember I saw the camera crew and they were filming the Isle of Burke area, and so they've been rolling with this thing for quite a while now. And honestly, I doubt they'll re-edit anything. It could be the case, I don't know what stage of editing or close to release this film really was. But it does seem like it's pretty tacky to be like, hey, let's talk about how amazing and great Stardust Racers are right after a tragedy occurred. It wouldn't be great PR for them, especially for a documentary they've been working on for this long. And going back to, probably a few years creating this whole park. So they probably are just waiting for proper timing. I could see this maybe waiting for either next year or possibly like a Christmas release maybe. Do we know a new release date yet?
For this documentary, November of 2025 is going to be the date, November 17th, to be more specific. It's interesting. There have been some that have been exposed to at least some of the content featured in this documentary, like this, for example, from Attractions Magazine, Epic Ride, the story of Universal Theme Parks review, and they talk about the candor by which a lot of the people featured in the documentary actually speak when talking about the history of both Universal and Epic Universe. Like, for example, it tracks the history of Universal in chronological order, documenting the process and preparation for Epic Universe on the ground inside the park during its first 6 months of operation, or construction, I should say. You'll see a rehearsal for La Cirque Arcanus, a new show inside
Arcanu.
Sorry,
Yeah.
that's going to be the Wizarding World show right there. But apparently, it completely goes wrong. You'll hear from former Universal executives complain about former Disney CEO Michael Eisner, and you'll see the moment when engineers flew the flying drones intended for How to Train Your Dragon's Isla Burke, and understanding that they would not be ready for opening day. So they reveal a lot in here, and that's part of the reason why so many people have been looking forward to this.
Hey, side note totally, but maybe they'll have 7 drones and Santa flying over the park for Christmas.
Ooh, that's an interesting idea. They certainly could do something quite like that.
Anyway.
But
the other thing that struck me about this one,
Please.
I was anxious to see it. And I get my Peacock for free as part of my Walmart Plus membership. But I don't get the premium version. And I thought, and they're holding this for people who pay for the premium, so I won't be able to see it anyway unless I do that. And I thought, haven't they got the marketing cart before the horse? Isn't the idea to put as much of Epic in people's homes as you can to get them to come to the park, rather than use Epic Curiosity as a way of selling streaming? And it reminded me of that horrific stuff they did on opening day with those so-called influencers. And the first time I heard about the delay, I wondered if maybe they had cut a lot of that stuff out of it that was originally going to be in it.
That's an interesting idea. I never thought about that.
But the second one, I believe, is related to the roller coaster. But the first one, I thought maybe they realized after that experience that having all these so-called influencer dweebs be the host was probably not the best thing. So
yeah, that's a fair point. Very, very interesting. I never really thought about that, but you might be right. They might have incorporated a lot of that into this documentary right here. So for theory 2 on why this documentary might have been postponed a number of times, again, 3 times this Epic Universe documentary was postponed. It says right here, the second reason we are hearing from inside sources concerns a major announcement regarding the Epic Universe Annual Pass. Sources are reporting that Universal Orlando was reportedly set to announce the availability of Epic Universe Annual Passes. This news was apparently slated to be a featured segment, either a commercial-like reveal or an official press release during the 3-part documentary series as it was rolled out.
That's a stupid idea. They're each events and news stories worthy of themselves. When you put 2 things like that in the same thing, you dilute the impact of both just by virtue of compounding it, I think.
Interesting. It is not known when the Universal Epic Annual Pass was to be implemented into multi-park passes. Rumor is the Epic AP would start January 1st, 2026. That's a very interesting theory, Lou. I had not previously considered that. I will say, if you want to get all eyes onto your onto the announcement that APs would be coming, I suppose that would be an idea. But to your point, it would maybe diminish that. I guess my question for MJ,
it's shooting 2 shots with the same gun. It's foolish, in my opinion, from a marketing point of view.
MJ, would you, if you were to find yourself watching this documentary on TV, I suppose would you be inclined to buy an AP for that includes Epic Universe if promoted simultaneously?
I would definitely be inclined to buy a AP for Epic. Absolutely, yes. That would be a goal. And like you guys all know already, we are locals. We're not that far from the parks, so it would really be a good bang for our buck. That's how.
Sure.
Yeah.
But show the whole world a thing that makes everybody want to go to Orlando. And most people are not going to buy an annual pass if they're from out of the area. That's just the nature of the beast. Locals, sure. So I would say an intense promotion to locals of, hey, you've been waiting. Here it is.
Yeah.
By the way, you said January 1st. What date did we say in the previous story the Christmas stuff runs until? Wasn't it January 3rd or 4th?
4th. Yeah.
Okay. Now, the question is, when does it start?
So the Christmas stuff.
I'm saying, could they get some shots of that happening into the end of their documentary?
I believe it's November 24th, but I could be wrong, Vash. You want to double check that? November 24th.
Yes, November 21st. 21st. Yep.
Okay, so well, then maybe not, or they could show them preparing it. But
they could show them preparing it, yeah.
As great as it all is, wait till you see it this holiday season. That would make sense.
That would make sense. Oh, that's interesting. I never thought about the incorporation of some of the holiday stuff with this in order to promote maybe the holiday season. That's really something right there. I
can't hit it. I think this way. Anyway.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Well, look, I don't know why Universal would announce 3 separate dates for this thing. I'm just not sure. I'm very confident that the second reason why they delayed it was because of everything involving Stardust Racers. There's not a doubt in my mind about that.
Yeah.
The other 2 reasons, I don't know. I mean, perhaps one could speculate that, okay, maybe ticket sales have been going extremely well, and rolling out APs premature might impact that business and so forth. So it's like, okay, if we were going to do a tie-in like this, maybe you postpone it, but I'm not sure. The holiday inclusion, that's a very interesting idea right there. I've never really thought about that. Hey, if any of you guys in the chat or in the comment section down below are looking forward to this documentary, please let me know, because I don't know, maybe they delayed it so much that enthusiasm for this has waned just a little bit.
Because most people won't know. People who just are sitting there at their Peacock saying, "Oh, look, here it is at last," are not noting when they canceled it or why they canceled it or anything else. And they can just say, "Well, we've been working on it so hard, we wanted to make it perfect."
I don't know. That's a fair point.
So, look, every time we see a story and we think, God, that's huge, there's still millions of people out there who aren't even aware there is such a thing as Epic Universe, believe it or not. So I tend to be skeptical of some of those motivations. So
they did that marketing on purpose, Lou. I believe they made sure not to, overdo it with the first year of the opening of Epic. I think they're going to go harder later on, but I think they're just doing like soft marketing. Because
and up capacity too. Right. Exactly.
They're testing their water still. These guys, I mean, look, it raises an eyebrow really that, this place has been open how many months? 5, 6 months? And the ride we already lost a life on one of the rides. I mean, that's but there's a lot here involved. I mean, I don't know. I still think they're testing the waters on their crowd capacity. You guys all know not much to do if the weather is bad. You only have a couple of things that you can do when the weather gets bad. They're going to probably fix that in the next year or 2. I'm assuming they're going to expand. I would hope so.
Well, and Lauren's son went with his mother just recently, and he said they were only there for a couple hours, and they weren't able to go on any rides, but he loved just being there. There was so much to see and so much to hear and so much to do. And I think there's a lot of that going on, especially when they put the holiday stuff up in Celestial Park. Anyway, we'll see.
It's a fair point.
We'll see.
We will see, and let us know in the comments below if you are looking forward to it. I know I am, but I will say, even as a fan, a big fan, a little bit frustrated with Universal right now. But hey, all is forgiven if you do hold to the date, Universal, November 17th, 2025. We will see. Erica, you're back. Are we good this time? Is everybody okay, by the way? Because we have some drop-ins, drop-outs. Just want to make sure.
We're holding on by a string.
Computer's not even a year old, and for whatever reason, my Bluetooth headpiece, when it tries to connect, the system just completely shuts off, and the computer won't turn on. It's just in this sleep mode that I cannot get it to come back on. But oddly enough, when I took my earpiece out of my ear, the freaking computer came on.
Wax on, wax off.
We're gonna have to diagnose those problems after the show, actually, because I got some theories. But
okay,
I had some computer issues too, as you know, Erica. So
it's happening a lot more frequently on other screens like on Lorraine did that, and I'm like, okay, this is getting annoying now. Like
I'm a firm believer that
They're on
computer
to us.
problems are actually a contagious disease because this seems to happen routinely. We had the same problem with Lost Guys the other day.
We're talking
Really?
about computers,
Yes.
not Nintendos, Nolan. I don't want you to carry your obsession too far. Diseases in machines.
If an evil AI is in a computer, we got a bigger problem.
Oh,
Evil AI. It's coming on to strike us right
They're
here.
on to us, Vash. They're on to us.
I tell you what. Well, I think we're on to them too, MJ. At least when it comes to the corporate consolidation of every kind of entity known to man. This one is very interesting. And Lou, I am so glad you are on for this because I really want to go over this with you specifically. But because it's more of a theme park oriented channel, I also want to go ahead and just go through maybe the machinations of what this could all mean if this actually ends up happening. Here you go from the New York Post. Exclusive Paramount facing competition from Warner Brothers Discovery as Comcast could emerge as a suitor. So for those maybe not in the know, Paramount, as now owned by the Ellisons and Skydance, had put in a bid to buy Warner Bros. Discovery and incorporate it into their conglomerate right there. Okay, fair enough. Well, apparently, Warner Bros. Discovery has rejected the initial offer, and now Comcast apparently might be getting into this mix, which could, just inflame this thing entirely. Let's go ahead and go through it real fast.
I love Charlie Gasparino. I understand this is a story. My overall reaction to the whole thing is a yawn. And let me tell you why. When anybody goes to buy a big company like this for a lot of money, the natural first reaction is, oh, that's not enough lot of money. Give me more. And then other people say, well, how much more? And maybe we'll get involved. And 50 people come out of the woodwork claiming they can do it. We'll see. We'll see.
We will see, but I still want to play it out, Lou. If
Sure, go ahead.
Hypothetical, let's say it's actually going through. Let's go ahead and set
With
it up
an
for those
emphasis on the
who might
hype
not be
of
aware.
the hypothetical.
The list of suitors for Warner Bros. Discovery is poised to get longer, with possible bidders that include cable TV giant Comcast on the Monday. Has learned. As first reported by the Post, Paramount Skydance chief David Ellison is in talks with private equity giants, including Apollo Global Management, to join a possible bid to buy Warner Bros. Discovery, a mega deal that could be worth more than $60 billion. And it goes through and says that, hey, look, listen, Ellison's dad might not be willing to open the purse strings for another acquisition of this scope. Also, too, there are regulatory issues and all kinds of stuff. But let's see right here. Another big worry for the Ellisons, however, is that Comcast may soon jump into the mix, according to sources close to Paramount Skydance. Insiders note that the conglomerate headed by Chairman Brian Roberts, that being NBC Universal Comcast, is in the middle of breaking out its cable TV properties into a separate company named Versant. Once that spinoff is complete, Comcast will consist of its Peacock streaming service, its Universal theme parks, NBC News, and Xfinity, a unit that provides internet and cable services. According to sources, Skydance is particularly worried about a possible Comcast bid because Warner Bros. Discovery's deal-savvy CEO David Zaslav already had a strategic relationship with Comcast's Xfinity unit to deliver content through the company's internet service and cable pipes. It's unclear which Comcast unit would make the bid, but the cable giant's boss, Roberts, is said to be highly interested in Warner Bros. Discovery's content as well as its top-ranked studio and HBO Max streaming service. Now, the number 3 most popular. Okay, that's a whole lot to digest. I get it. I understand. But for us to understand the story, we kind of want to know the players and bits involved in the back end right there. For a theme park fan, though, I think this has a lot of us very excited about the prospect of maybe Comcast throwing its hat into this ring right here, because Warner Bros. Discovery has every single franchise that people have wanted to see develop in the theme park space for quite some time. Not only that, but they are the rights holders to something like the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, for instance. So to have all of that under one umbrella like Comcast, and to have the theme parks under Universal be the outlet for that is very, very tantalizing, I will say. Guys, I want to go ahead and hear from you. Would you invite a merger like this, even though it's a big acquisition, if it came with the theme park rights under Universal in this whole thing? I kind of want to know from you.
Well, you're going to run into the same problem about East Coast versus West Coast that happened anyway with the Marvel stuff, because most of those Warner Brothers characters are right now licensed to Six Flags, aren't they?
Right.
So how long do those deals run, and what do you get out of it? And meanwhile, you've been totally diluting the value of the brand of DC to death. So
Yes, that's very true.
I would rather see Paramount lower the boom on the Star Trek people and get that fixed up before I'd like to see them take this on. But that's just me.
True. That's true. I know a lot of people who aren't necessarily thrilled with Skydance Paramount buying Warner Bros. Discovery, but they are thrilled with Comcast owning Warner Bros. Discovery for a variety of reasons, not least of which being theme parks right there. But I know about the Six Flags deal, and that's an issue. But you got to think Six Flags is not in a very enviable position when it comes to cash flow. Okay, they've got some huge liquidity issues.
All I'm saying is that to get out of those contracts early, Six Flags would have to get paid by Comcast as well.
Yes. So
it suddenly becomes an even more expensive proposition that way.
Well, yes, but hey, look, if Comcast is already dealing out some checks and Six Flags is maybe desperate, maybe you could take advantage of that and go, hey, we'll go ahead and throw you a check or two to get those DC rights back. And now NBC Universal can play. I mean, they can go toe-to-toe with Disney in terms of the IP game. At that point, there is no limits, at least that I can see.
I don't see that Comcast really wants to own a production studio. I just don't. I could be wrong, but they've been very carefully avoiding doing that for a long time when they could have. You know, if Amazon and Netflix can produce their own stuff, why couldn't Comcast for their channels, for their cable unit? But they didn't do it, did they? So we'll see.
That's true.
Color me skeptical.
For people who don't know the layout of Hollywood and the proximity by which these things actually set, let me go ahead and get up a map here to give everybody some insight into what we're actually talking about.
The Battle of the Water Towers.
Yes, well, it's always the Battle of the Water Towers. So here you go. Let's see if I can get a... Okay. This is the best I'm going to be able to do on such short notice, but let me go ahead and see if I can bring this up. Here you go. You see right here, this is the Warner Brothers lot, okay? And this is in Hollywood, in the Valley.
Well, not Hollywood, really. It's technically Burbank,
yeah.
I guess you'd have to say.
It's very true.
Studio City. What a surprise. How'd they name that town?
That's very true. That's much more accurate. But for all of our UK friends who might not understand the ins and outs of the very particulars of this area of Southern California, in effect, this is very near Hollywood, right? And so, okay, you have this, and you have the golf course, and you have Universal Studios Hollywood right next door. And some people have theorized, okay, if Comcast were to buy Warner Bros. Discovery, they could shift all of their production to Warner Brothers, and that might alleviate a lot of the backlot for potential theme park stays. That's something I've heard of. Lou, your thoughts on that one?
Give me 20 years. I think everybody's saying, oh, well, it'd be easy to... Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, well, you try it. And as we've said, the fact that employment is going down in Hollywood, where we talked about them tearing down a lot of sound stages because they didn't need them anymore and they wanted more theme park land. If the tariffs and the tax incentives bring production back, what's better, a building that's already built or one that you have to start from scratch? So I'm not saying it wouldn't give you a lot of... Remember that these studios, it may say Warner's on the front, it may say Universal on the front, but they're for rent to all and sundry. And they all play in each other's backyards quite frequently. So I just think this is all so far speculative. And the fact that all of this speculation began with, oh, Warner says that's not enough money. Well, what would you say? When somebody comes and wants to buy your house and they lowball you, wouldn't you say, I want more? I mean, it's not that different, really, in the beginning of a negotiation for the seller to say they want more money from the buyer. So
Well,
I don't think any of us knows enough about what's going on inside. And Brian Roberts is a pretty sharp guy. And I just keep saying he hasn't seen an interest in producing his own stuff these many years while Netflix and Amazon were doing it. And so we shall see. We shall see.
Okay. Well, when we go back and we examine the history of these acquisitions and stuff, I remember back when like Disney was attempting to acquire 20th Century Fox. And when that happened, who did we see actually throw their head into the ring? Brian Roberts of Comcast. They were like, hey, look, listen.
Basically acted as a stalking horse, got him to offer too much, and then said, oh, sorry, I didn't mean that. Thank you. That's all
Exactly. The initial bid, I think, was $35 billion. And then that became
60, 70, something like that.
Yeah, it was 70 at the end of it right there.
Yeah.
Well, because Comcast got involved. I got to think in the mergers and acquisitions game, especially right now, I got to think that Comcast is looking at this. I just have to. I don't know to what extent, but I got to. And Nolan, come on, man. I mean, keep the dream alive, at least for me. To get all those IPs and franchises for the theme parks, at least from our side of the aisle, it's got to be very tantalizing.
This is a fun one to chime in on, because I think you guys both have some very good perspectives here on the matter. We've seen this would probably be a very bad move to make, but on the other hand, studios don't always like to think logically, and they'll do really dumb things like buying 20th Century Fox. I still think that was one of the dumbest moves Bob Iger has ever done, and he has a nice pedigree of bad decisions.
Well, it was dumb at that price. It was dumb at that price.
Yes,
and it was dumb if he was going to buy it and then ignore all the IP he got with it, which is what he did.
That's very true.
And I agree on that. Now, if we're talking about in the rumor and speculation territory of would this eventually result in, correct me if I'm wrong here, we'd probably see a lot of Warner Brothers characters going to, say, the Universal parks. Like we'd see like the DC characters finally getting their due. Am I correct on that, Vash?
Well, that's why we were bringing up the Six Flags thing before.
If they can get out of the deals they have with Six Flags.
Correct. Because remember, Six Flags, they almost didn't quite, but remember Six Flags and like Time Warner, they were a thing, right? And that included Warner Brothers, and that's kind of why you have the crossover.
Isn't there a Warner Brothers land in Australia that has a lot of them too?
Yes, there is.
Yes, the state of which I'm not quite sure of, but yes, at least there were at some time. But oh, go ahead, please, no.
What I want to say though was let's also not forget where Six Flags currently is as a company. Ever since the Cedar Fair merger, Six Flags ain't looking too hot right now. And the reality is, when companies get desperate, they do have to find ways to make money to keep the ship afloat. Now, granted, don't get me wrong here. I'm sure there'll be some bigwigs jumping out in their golden parachute as the company falls into a fiery inferno. But if they are going to try to say the Six Flags company, probably one of the most valuable things they own right now are the DC properties, because we've seen the success, of Islands of Adventure at Universal, as well as a lot of superhero stuff over at Disneyland. And I'm sure even take your Disney, we've had a lot of critical thoughts on some of their reinventing IP structure, but we do know about that company, for example, is they love to acquire IPs. It's a fresh slate. Everybody loves driving off, say, the theoretical car lot with their new car and think of possibilities for things you may or may not even ever end up doing. I feel like a lot of these companies are the same way. Now, there is its part inside of me that's like, man, I would just love to see the people behind Epic Universe bring DC to life. Like, walk through the Batcave, see a proper, tried and true Hall of Justice. Like, I got a kick out of the one at Six Flags. It's cute, but it doesn't even compare to the level of immersion you see at the Universal parks, especially with like FanFest, Halloween Horror Nights. Will this happen? I won't even pretend to be enough of a business guru to make a proper statement on that. However, what I can say is, if that were to happen, it would be a very nice day for a lot of theme park goers, but maybe a tragic day for amusement park goers, because that could signal the end of Six Flags as a company. Who knows?
It would only happen if Six Flags planned on quitting. And the reason I say that is, let us say you're Six Flags and you've got a park that is what, 60% DC IP, 70% DC IP, which some of theirs are.
A lot.
Okay. And you say, okay, we're going to sell the IP. So that means you now have to invest in retheming all of those attractions to something generic. That's not cheap.
No, and that
Cedar Fair. If I could chime in for a second, sorry, Vash. Cedar Fair actually did that way back when. It used to be Paramount's Kings Island over in Ohio for a long time. They had rides themed to Top Gun. They had rides themed to Tomb Raider. When Cedar Fair took over and they didn't have the IP, they just went to the bye-bye. Tomb Raider, the ride became a ride just called the Crypt. So it all becomes a lot more generic, dollar store equivalent. So if you want to make that analogy. And you have to think, like a lot of them, I've seen good points here in the chat about how a lot of the theming is very tame as far as their amusement park rides. It's nowhere near to the same level. You know, a red ride might be close enough to call it Superman, a yellow for Batman, a few statues here and there.
They made those deals and paid that license money because they thought it would make it more attractive to guests than just a plain old Joe Blow roller coaster.
Exactly.
And so the question is, if you don't have that theming, what does that do to your attendance? What does that do to your attractiveness?
Bingo.
You would have to, I would imagine, to your point, Nolan, and to your point as well, Lou, that if you're Six Flags and you're looking to, be open to the idea of losing those franchises, especially after your big acquisition, or merger, I should say, I would think that part of the purchase price of purchasing out that contract or whatever would be, hey, you're gonna pay to retheme all these attractions, like that, a reasonable rate, of course. We're not gonna pay for that, so it would have to cover the cost of retheming all those rides, shows, and attractions, like I was saying before. But you would also think too that it would be lucrative enough so that whatever financial hit they might actually take from those franchises not being incorporated in the parks, you're going to make up for that. So it would be an expensive thing. However, Six Flags might be desperate, and so desperation. Well, that
they may be desperate to sell. Is somebody else that desperate to buy? We don't know when those contracts run out. And even if
that's a fair point,
Paramount bought Warner Brothers and got all of that, if they could just sit back and say, we're going to fix the DC universe by getting rid of Gunn and Company, and we're going to fix the Star Trek universe by getting rid of those idiots, and we'll sit back and relax. And when those things come up for renewal, we'll worry about putting it in the theme parks.
Valid.
It's interesting. Erica, want to go ahead and know from you? Look, you've got franchises like Barbie, Dune, Game of Thrones. All of that sits under the Warner Brothers banner right there. Matrix, I guess. Incorporating those franchises into a theme park, first of all, would you be compelled to see them if they were, especially by Universal? And do you think it's enough that you and maybe other people that you might know be interested in those franchises to maybe put an offer for Warner Brothers if you're Comcast? Go ahead, Erica.
You're muted, Erica. There.
Just from a theme park perspective, because a lot of the stuff is kind of over my head and confusing to follow at best. I get where they have a lot of access to all these, I guess, really well-known IPs, even much older IPs, and they can do a lot with that in terms of translating that to the theme park industry. But there's more to running a name like Warner Brothers than just theme parks. They're also a studio. So it's a both and enchilada they're buying. And that's a lot to take on. And I'm kind of not a fan of following Disney's footsteps where they've just become this corporate hog and they just eat up all these other companies, because that just just kind of shrinks the market out there. I'm not really a fan of consolidating like that. At what point does it just kind of like the consolidation needs to stop so we have more options and competition out there?
I don't know if it can, because you have now billion-dollar tech companies getting into this in a big way. Like, for example, Apple and Amazon and Netflix is already pretty much
There's one more factor to consider.
Please.
If this was 10 years ago, purely as a real estate play, it would be worth it. Now, not so much.
Yeah, not so much. Well, especially not now. But look, you talked about, Erica, the studio side of things, and I wanted to go ahead and point out that in the top 5 when it comes to distributors this year, broken down by studio right here, we can see that Warner Brothers is at $1.84 billion at the global box office. I think this is global. U.S. box office. Sorry. Right now, when it comes to Warner Brothers productions coming out, Disney is at 1.62. Yes, I think this is global. I don't know. Anyway, this is the top 5 of studios who have released pictures this year. Universal right now, that's Comcast, is 996 million. They become number 1 at the box office with an acquisition like this. Now, obviously, would that hold every single year? Likely not. But they become a major player in the studios and theatrical releases with an acquisition like that. I'm just saying that there's a lot of upside for the studio side of the business.
Do they want to?
That's a fair point.
Exactly what I was going to ask, is what is their end goal? What is that they really want in this deal? Is it more the theme park aspect of it, or is it the studio part? Where you're doing movies and TV. I mean, has anyone come out and said what their interest is and what their goals are?
Look,
or is it all hush hush?
Can we say confidently, and I think we can, that Universal, A, would love to be, and B, is on the track to being a company where 35% of their profits come from their theme parks the way Disney is? They're nowhere near that yet. But if they have that happening the way they're going right now, which I think they do, when you figure not just in Orlando and overseas, but also the little park in Plano and the Vegas thing and others, what does God need with a starship? I mean, there's a certain, they have to sit there and say, is this really worth mortgaging all of that against, obviously with the whole thing with Fox, there was a level of personal about screwing Bob and Bob wanting to screw them. And I don't think that exists regarding Warner Brothers. And Warner Brothers, it's a wonderful place, but it's a failed company, even though they've been trying to pay off debt and work things down, because they've let the inmates run the asylum with DC. DC could have pulled them out of all this all by itself if it had been good. But instead, you have this idiot mouthing off about, well, nobody supervises me. I get to do whatever I want. Oh, well, that means when it flops, it's your fault. Oh, I forgot about that.
Whoops.
That's not what I really meant to say.
Do you guys trust Comcast to improve on DC and maybe do better than Marvel?
You couldn't do worse.
I think.
Yeah.
Oh, you could do worse.
Are you sure? Right, DC right now
Disney
really
proves it every time they can get worse.
Could you do it worse?
Let's hear from MJ right here. She hasn't chimed in just yet. MJ, your thoughts?
Yeah. Can you guys hear me okay, first of all?
Yes, you sound
Yes, perfect.
Go for it.
Wonderful. I do trust Comcast. They, like you guys said, I agree. They have to be able to do a heck of a better job than what's being done now. Comcast is that's a major company. It's so sad because, like, I remember the classic films, Warner Brothers, they've done so much stuff, and it's a shame that, I'm not too familiar with the turnover with Warner Brothers, but they've done in the past, they did some excellent work. Huge fan of some, their films and stuff like that. I mean,
which don't belong to them anymore.
oh, that's a shame.
Yeah.
They sold all the pre-1950 inventory to Ted Turner, and then it wound up at Sony, and it's all over the map. So that heritage is great, but it's not what you're buying.
Well, thank you for shedding light on that. Now I have a question, Lou. Is Sony owned? Some of these companies that Vash had on the screen are U.S. owned, but is Sony U.S. owned or is that
No.
overseas?
No, it's owned in
No, it's
Japan.
Japan.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah.
And you see, really, it's that line that, as I've mentioned before, writer friend of mine, Lionel Chetwynd, wrote for Gil Cates, our president of the Directors Guild, when he said what these major industrial companies like Coca-Cola and Sony and Matsushita and all the rest of them don't understand about the movie studio business. It's not about the real estate or the sound stages or anything else. The capital equipment goes home every night.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Correct.
about the people. And
yeah.
If you can attract great people, you're going to win. If you can't, it doesn't matter how much money you throw at it, you're still going to lose.
Mm-hmm.
I give you Walt Disney Company.
Yeah.
So
It's that's it exactly. It's all about the people, and I would say, I think Comcast has a decent track record of being able to elongate their franchises, but even they're having problems, right? Like the Fast franchise. I mean, that went.
it
the
went its
wheels fell
course.
off on that
Fast.
one.
It ran its course. How many
Yep,
of those
yep.
can you sustain?
And look at the Jurassic World franchise. I mean, the
There
new
you
one
go.
came out, and it didn't.
But they're still putting the
don't
little cute ones into the kiddie park because they're
That's
building
true.
an audience. So
That's true. Yeah. And in the parks, hey, those franchises, they have all kinds of
I mean,
the
look,
ability
if you're a
to-
teenage guy, you don't have to like Vin Diesel to like fast cars. If you're a little boy or girl, you don't have to like the actors in Jurassic Park to like dinosaurs.
Valid.
There are constants involved in these franchises. And by the way, we're all talking about, if you buy Warner Brothers, you get Harry Potter. Oh, do you? I have to think that part of Ms. Rowling's deal where she gets to supervise everything is if you try and sell it, all bets are off and I still have my control creatively.
That's a fair point. I bring up Harry Potter only because, remember, we heard about Universal Great Britain, right? And how Universal initially was very, I guess, hesitant to include Harry Potter as one of the franchises that might be coming to that theme park because, well, there was already an exclusive deal that Warner Brothers had for Harry Potter amusement product. And now, apparently, that deal has been worked out from what we're hearing. But that's one of the things that you would overcome instantaneously with a buyout of Warner Brothers. Very interesting. This is one we have to track. Obviously, it is very speculative, no question about that. But I gotta think that Comcast is just looking over and just kicking the tires and going, maybe, what if?
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
It's a what if, and there's no rush. There's no rush. Paramount hasn't begun to digest, or Ellison hasn't begun to digest Paramount yet.
Now I have a curiosity question. When you do any of you guys have a subscription to Peacock?
Well, like I said, I do, but I have the free one that came with my, believe it or not, with my Walmart Plus membership. So I don't get all the quote unquote premium level stuff.
Oh, because I noticed that a lot of the Warner Brother films are on the Peacock app, and Paramount, obviously, maybe they want to dip into that. Maybe they're trying to have some of the rights to be able to play some of those films on their app. I mean, I'm just curious because even like Universal's films are on the Peacock. The whole Harry Potter series is on Peacock. That's why I was bringing it up. I was wondering if there was some kind of deal. I'm not too familiar with that, so that was my question.
They all license everybody but Disney, which could have made a fortune from Netflix instead of creating Disney Plus. But we won't beat that dead horse one more time, will we? Maybe just a little. Just a little. There is what is known as the opportunity costs, which is there's a cost if you do and a cost if you don't.
Right.
And so, these deals run for however many years they run, and then they get renewed or they don't. And we'll see. We'll see.
Indeed, we will see, and we'll be watching Comcast's career regarding Warner Bros. Discovery with great interest. You see what I did there? It's a prequel reference. That's you won't get it, but
Woo,
your kids,
Phantom
they're gonna
Menace,
love
baby.
it. Indeed. Well, I guess it's about time to wrap up our show because you know what? We gotta move.
Already?
We do. We gotta step aside for Culture Casino's channel right there. I mean, I do have one more story if you want to go over it real quick, but it's kind of up to you guys. I want to be respectful of your time. Obviously, I know you're giving a lot here. Are you interested in maybe a development regarding Disney's CEO position?
No, we know who it is. we know who it is. They're just it's just. Every time somebody suggests that person, Bob says, well, wait, you don't know that because I'm supposed to announce that, not you, doo-doo head.
Daddy Josh? Not Daddy Josh.
Are you talking about the one that was recommended by a certain failed late-night guy?
No, I'm not talking about that story. No. I'm talking about a story from, Alex Sherman regarding Disney's maybe potentially considering of a co-CEO structure. Lou, you see, I called it right there. Disney is considering a co-CEO structure to replace Bob Iger. Its history may make that a bad idea. Very interesting right here from Alex Sherman. Apparently, going over this article, Alex Sherman suggests that Iger called up, I believe, Ted Sarandos and talked to him about the co-CEO structure that is currently in effect at Netflix. And I guess I want to go ahead and hear from you guys. Do you think a co-CEO structure would be the way to go? I'm guessing Dana Walden on one side and Josh D'Amaro on the other, or should it really be one or the other?
Well,
it's all about who's there. I mean, if you have a broken motor car with square wheels, it's still about as effective. Like, these two have not shown at all that they are competent enough to be running this company. Now, could the dual CEO thing work? I actually vouch for, I think certain CEO structures could use some retooling. We saw some success with kind of a two-person system with Eisner and other dude, name not on top of my mind right now. It's been a long day. Sorry.
Frank Wells.
So, yes, him. But Dana Walden, Josh D'Amaro, no, it's going to be more of the same. And if we know anything from Iger from the past, he was already slipping into all of Bob Chapek's decision making. Why should we believe on any note that he won't?
Couldn't get somebody to put a matchbook under that pedestal with the bell on it. So, but listen, I didn't know any of these people personally, but I will pretend and say. Dana, I knew Frank Wells. Frank Wells is a friend of mine, and you're no Frank Wells. It's just that simple.
That's pretty good right there.
Well,
MJ, you got Walton Roy. In the 80s, you had Michael Eisner and Frank Wells. Could it exist in 2026, I guess? Josh D'Amaro, Dana Walden. Hey, you get one side of the ledger. You have the theme parks, which is a huge side of the business, obviously, and provides basically all the incoming operating income for the Walt Disney Company. And then you have the entertainment side, which Josh D'Amaro doesn't have any experience, but Dana Walden does. Your thoughts, MJ?
No, I agree with Nolan. Neither one of them is capable. This is actually really scary. This is a perfect story for Halloween because it's scary as hell.
Your D'Amaro pallor displays an aura.
And I want to know who started the Daddy Josh trend. Please, come forth.
I don't know if you want to know who started that trend.
They could share wardrobe, however, the two of them. But anyway.
Yeah, the Daddy Josh D'Amaro trend. Yeah, its origins go back.
No, it's Josh, and it's going to be Josh, and he'll succeed or fail because, frankly, with this deal in Arabia, he's the only guy who's brought any money into this company in the last 5 years, 10 years, as opposed to putting it out and not getting it back. Like this guy.
Erica, there's one argument that I heard that that honestly I've made myself when it comes to a co-CEO structure for the Walt Disney Company. And that is, I understand we don't feel that these guys have a lot of talent to go around, but in the Walt Disney Company ranks, there's just not a lot of talent to be had. One of the arguments for it, for a co-CEO structure, is that you retain both people at the company, because the issue that Bob Iger's run into the past is that you pick one and now everybody else leaves.
Wait,
So
you
that
mean
happened with
you would do this in order to retain the lady who ran the studio that lost 400 zillion trillion billion dollars? Is that it? 'Cause you really need her.
That's exactly
And
what I'm talking
whose
about.
main claim to fame was her best friendship with the woman who lost the presidency.
That's
Boy, I got to keep her on board. Let's do it.
well, I'm just saying. She produced.
I'm saying that they've got to put out stories like this because they've got to be able, at the end of the day, when they pick whoever it is they really want, which is him, to say, well, we looked at all the other options and this was the best, whether they did seriously or not. That's just what companies do, especially companies where the board, which is supposed to make this decision, not the CEO, is a captive of the CEO and his ego. So
yeah, so
whatever Bobby wants, Bobby gets, and the rest of us are stuck with it, and we hope for the best and expect the worst.
This, you're not wrong right there. I remember Jay Rasulo being
now there would have been Tom a good Staggs. Guy. See, now if he was the other partner in a dual thing where he handled the money the way Wells did, that would be powerful stuff. But
that would be really
they
powerful.
told him to go away, no uncertain terms, because he dared.
Well, no, he dropped out. He left when he knew that he didn't have a future.
But I'm saying later when he and
oh yes, with Nelson Peltz, of course.
How dare he? You know.
And then it happened again with Kevin Meyer. He was a guy that was being considered, and Bob Chapek. They went with Bob Chapek. Kevin Meyer left and did TikTok for a little bit, like right there. That didn't work out very well. But obviously, starting Candle Media with Tom Staggs, interestingly enough, somebody that did pick
when it starts rocking and he has to put his hand down it to stable it, and under his breath he's thinking, "Who the hell put this here? Why didn't they brace it?"
Yes, you would think that they would have tested that
bell
out.
right, and I'm supposed to be the boss. Well,
Erica, we pretty much know it's going to be Josh tomorrow, but is there an upside to potentially including them both?
I'm not seeing one, but history has shown that the company has fared out better when you have two people. When there's a CEO, co-CEO situation. Maybe I don't know. I might.
I'm going to question that, Erica, and I'll tell you why. Because for the last 2, 3, 4 years, these two, along with a few other minor players, have been fighting tooth and nail for this job against each other. The idea that as of tomorrow, by wave of a magic wand from the shower room, they're going to just play like friends is not to be expected in human nature.
They're going to be too busy one the other one under the bus, and it's just and then this company's going to suffer for it.
And every minute they spend thinking about the other one is a minute they're not fixing the company.
Mm-hmm. I appreciate the company, kind of going back to that mentality of, maybe we should go back to this concept. I think the concept is good, but they need to
Maybe
reconsider.
We should call Walt out wherever he's frozen and get him to run the company. I don't know. That's about as likely as I think this is. I really.
We already got a robot for him to consume.
And then that's the other question: is are they really going to do this?
Well, they've delayed
putting
the
all
search.
these feelers out and all these statements out, and even good journalists are obligated to cover them. But none of it's real. It's all, we did our due diligence, we explored every opportunity, and we decided in the best interest of the company that this guy's the best one we've got. And that's what they're going to do. I
do appreciate that they've brought in James Gorman in order to oversee this whole thing, even though they brought him in before. And,
and he said, I understand there's a committee I'm going to be on when they, oh God, he's.
Yeah. And it's like they didn't establish it. That was pretty funny. But now he's the board of directors, I do believe, or at least the chairman of the board, I should say. And so it's like, okay, I do like that they brought some outside talent just to kind of, oversee this whole process. At the same time, though,
that was to make the banks happy. Because they knew they were heading into some flops and they needed to make the banks happy. So they'd keep lending them money to make more flops.
That's a fair point. If you're only considering internal candidates, though, it's not. It's not a great roster.
Over a year saying they should have gone outside, and I'm also on record for over a
And
year
touch
saying
grass.
they won't do it. They won't do it.
Well, I'm on record saying that, hey, maybe a co-CEO structure might be the best play given the lack of talent
That's why you
available.
can find shops in the cadet section at Saks. I guess that's what you got.
That's what we
Is that
have.
like a personal attack or something?
No, it's just pointing out the obvious because, well, as a certain president would say,
They don't know what the they're doing. Do you understand that?
Those are my sentiments right there.
I love plain speaking. Speaking of plain speaking, and totally shame on me changing the subject. Did you see what J.D. Vance said today?
Oh,
Yes.
what did he say?
Elizabeth Warren was complaining, telling all about how wonderful the peace deal is, but wouldn't give Trump any credit. So J.D.
She wouldn't even say his name, right? Like she's allergic to
his
saying
name.
his
So
name.
J.D. Vance tweeted, "I hope you appreciate he did this on Indigenous Peoples Day."
He did it for you.
Did for you, yeah.
I mean, he'll never be Trump, but he's got some moxie, that guy, I tell you.
I've already seen some people who are saying, hey, I like that. I'll go ahead and vote for you for 2028.
Anyway.
But
maybe there'll be a dummy of him in the Hall of Presidents someday. You never know.
Well, that, by the way, Lou, that's a little teaser for the next show following ours. Thank you for your attention to this matter, because I'm sure culture is going to bring that up right there. So if you like that commentary and you appreciate that, hey, go ahead and stick around right here, because we're going to be redirecting you in just a moment. But it is time. But first, I can't leave everybody without
three
somewhere.
more up today.
Well, yeah,
3 more
There you
episodes.
go.
That's how energetic I was after passing out last night.
Well, there you go. Lou, what do you got coming on your Patreon?
Well, we have one about games behind the games. We have one about actors and how to understand their personalities. And I forget what the third one was. Anyway, I just want to clarify to everybody, it's Patreon, Lou's Views, and you can join for free, but you only get episode 0, which is the one where I explain everything. You got to pay the whole $5 to get everything. And right now that's 7 everythings and more to come. So I hope you join me there, because people said they just wanted more of me, and I'm giving what I can give to here and to our show on Sunday. And so far, I'm having a lot of fun doing this, and I hope it's genuinely useful and entertaining.
Amen.
Fantastic. Go and Shogi actually has a link in the chat for you to subscribe to Lou's Views right there. Really, really good stuff. Lou's commentary is just, it's invaluable. So go ahead and show Lou that you value his commentary.
It's not invaluable. It's only worth $5 a month.
Well, I was going to turn that around, but there you go. That's about how that goes right there. Nolan, what do you got going on over there in your neck of the woods, good sir?
Woo, okay. There's a lot of things going on in the mind of Nolan Thunder, and a lot of things currently on the docket. But I don't want to.
Sometimes they break out into the real world, and then Katie bar the door.
True that. Yeah, sometimes they emerge from my mind and become these horrible spawns known as YouTube videos. But if you like documentaries...
Example of football the other day. That was fun.
But if you like documentaries, internet mysteries, the paranormal, it's Halloween season, as you know. And if you want to check out my series Lost in the Files, I got a lot of B-movie horror, but it's also fun because it's got like comedy, documentary elements, mockumentary elements. So there's a whole playlist you can find on my channel of all my Lost Files episodes. I really recommend the one I did on Slamfest 99, which was a big chase for one of the first live streamed Nintendo events on the internet from 1999. So if you'd like a little bit of a dive into the older days of the internet, please check out my documentary on that, as it's still a mystery to this day, and I think you'll get a kick out of it.
Awesome stuff. Definitely check out Nolan Thunder and That Gameplays, where he's producing all kinds of amazing content for that park place, game related. Definitely check out both those channels. Erica, what do you got going on over there in your neck of the woods? I know, hey, the Halloween season's coming up right here. Can we expect Halloween related content of you decorating the abode?
I have been so busy decorating and treat making. I got some footage of us decorating. I just have not had time to sit down and edit everything because I am swamped in my checklist. And I'm down to 2 weeks to Halloween now. So, but I will try and find time to put together a video to put up. I do want to live stream on Halloween. I would love to. Just haven't figured out how to logistically do that with everything else we have going on that night, navigating all the trick-or-treaters and making sure everyone's, at their post doing their jobs.
That's a fair point. That's a fair point right there.
Point for trick-or-treating, sir.
I'm going to ring that bell and make sure I don't miss that. I want to see that live footage because I
exactly.
will be home on Halloween, and I can't wait to see what Erica's got going on.
Hit that subscribe button. Hit the bell notifications in order to be notified when she maybe goes live, but definitely drops a video. MJ, Magical MJ, that is. Whoa, that's not what I wanted. I wanted a link to bring up right here. Miss Magical MJ, what do you got going on over there? I know you have an X account right there, and it is awesome. Definitely follow her. But other social medias, what do you got going?
Yes, you can find me also on Instagram. I've been gradually posting things. I'm more active on X than Instagram. For all my techie people, is there a way to integrate these two so it copies everything I post? That would be so nice. I don't seem to know how to do it. Like I was trying to figure it out. But yeah, I've been posting content, trying to just be informative and help everyone. My goal eventually in 2026 is to have enough content to be able to give everyone information so that they can have a stress-free vacation, families to enjoy the theme parks, all the ins and outs. I'm really, really big on DAS. So I want to have a lot of content for that. But putting this stuff together does take time. But in the meantime, if you guys want to follow me on X and Instagram, that would be lovely. I would appreciate it so very much.
Oh, I love this for sure. That sounds pretty good to me. That's for sure. Definitely check out Magical MJ. She's doing some amazing stuff. I know privately to get ready for you guys to bring out content. She's working hard back there. So, hey, give her a follow, and I'm sure she'll let you know via her Twitter and perhaps her Instagram when she does bring forth the content that you so desire right there. We got to get you on over there to Culture Casinos. Thank you for your attention on this matter. I believe that's what the show is called, and that's going to be a whole lot of fun. So let's go ahead and step aside to do that. If you want to go ahead and find me, you can find me on That Park Place, producing Morning Magic. We just celebrated our 100th episode. That is very, very fun right there. But that's every Tuesday and Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern. And I'll be back with Lou and you on this channel right here every single Sunday at 2 p.m. So what are you doing? Hit the subscribe button right there. And, for all the news that should also be fun, take care, guys. We will see you later.
Bye, everyone.